There you are. Let's take a look at the decks. We've already seen Poison. Well, we took a look at that in a second. We just get updated onto Sindikkat's decks. We haven't seen much of this tournament, at least from our perspective, yet. But he has definitely been prevalent. He's had a little bit of a break. He has been waiting here for a while, as we can take a look here from things. Let me just quickly mute this. All right, so looking over at Sindikkat's decks, we see another Simpson profile picture here. Got some Bart, as this is going to be, we got Koshi, so Koshi's still in the tournament. There is some Koshi action happening, still remaining, and we see Queen of the Night as an option here. How do you feel about this Queen of the Night, Jaggerous?
It's another player who's forgone Nilfgaard first and foremost. But actually, Queen of the Night and the Aguara as well, it gives you some nice options for purifying for locks. It's basically saying, things like Nilfgaard, it gives them a bit of a harder time because they can't really lock your stuff as easily. If they poison your stuff, you can remove it. So it makes that matchup better. The problem for Sindikkat is that... I mean, Poison's Nilfgaard is a special thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, we got the respect from last game. I mean, we saw the Sart actually deciding, you know what, this car deck, I'm scared. I don't like cars. I'm gonna ban the cars away. And yeah, we saw that getting quite an impact, opting to leave Sindikkat actually unbanned. And yeah, we're going to have to see how this unfolds here, as the Koshi deck is going to be in play for Sindikkat. And then moving on now to Inspired Zeal. This is going to be a commander list, not going to be Devotion though, so you got a bit more consistency. We've talking about this time and time again this week, in consistency versus points. We've seen some decks going Devotion, we've seen some decks going non-Devotion. What do you prefer, Jaggers? Do you like the consistency or do you like the points?
I like the consistency, to be honest with you. I don't know. I mean, I think with commandos though, generally I like the point. No, with commandos I generally like the points because I think it's consistent enough. We've seen commandos played a few times, and in the times that we've seen it, it's been consistent. So in that situation, I think go for the points. I think Force of Nature you should go for the consistency, and I think Inspired Zeal you should go for the points.
Yeah, I mean, Inspired Zeal is going to be playing with that Neuromancy, so you got extra options to get those commanders in round 3 without having to invest your Pavetta early on in round 2 if you don't need to. And this deck is pretty much going to play very similarly to commander decks. This one doesn't play Siege though, instead it does play with Erland. And Erland can be an interesting card. You can shuffle back all those commanders with Pavetta, and then you have this massive Erland which you can click, and it can come down with immunity because of the fact that it comes down at Adrenaline 3 with that guaranteed immunity, which can be quite scary. So very, very strong deck here. This one also very much all in on the commanders with those mega scopes as well. So this deck having a lot more synergies with commanders than the Siege version.
It's expensive though, is Erland. 12 provisions is quite a lot. So, I guess when you're going for things like, this is the issue, when you're going for things like a Neuromancy, when you're going for things like Erland, they're such high cost cards that if you then look down, lower down the list, you've got the Peller, you've got these Maulers, you've got the Siege supports, you've got 2 Siege Ladders, you've got 2 Royal Guards. You have to make space for them. And it does really impact your bronze package a little bit.
Yep, for sure. And then moving on now to Line Pockets. This is going to be possibly being banned. I mean, Poison has been banning Sindikkat thus far, so I don't think he's going to change things up just yet. So I would imagine it's probably going to get banned. This is, though, going to be a Devotion version of Line Pockets. So no Sunset Wanderers, no Heatwave. Instead, you do see the likes of that Witchfinder, that Professor, as well as that Junior. So a lot of points, but obviously you don't have access to that Sunset Wanderer and Heatwave. Probably going to get banned, though, nonetheless.
Yeah, probably. And then I look at Reckless Flurry once again, a GERD version. So we saw the Gigascorpion Decoction version that Poisound plays, and now we have another GERD version. It's nice against commandos, right? The GERD, it gives you a little bit more value against commandos. But other than that, I feel like it's an unusual tech choice.
Yeah, I mean, the good can be nice, especially as you mentioned against commanders. I mean, this deck does struggle against commanders regardless, so maybe the good helps out, just give you some kind of lifeline against commanders. Then again, no decoction here means you can't answer Foltest that easily, as you do have to get through the defender and that Foltest, and a little bit less answers now, as that is going to be Sindikkat's deck list. He is been waiting quite a while here in the lower bracket final, as we do see Poison now going to be his competitor. Let's take a look at Poison's deck list, as we're going to see Imperial Formation, the deck which everyone's been talking about so far this tournament, and being probably the most unique deck, I think, in this tournament so far.
Yeah, of all the decks we've seen, admittedly, we didn't see every single person play, but we've seen the winners. The winningest people at this stage. These are the people who haven't been knocked out yet, so we'll consider them the winningest people, even though some of them are in fact losers. Imperial formation, it's made it this far, so obviously there's merit to it. It got respect banned by Sard, so obviously there's merit to it. And you know what? I just enjoy watching it because we've seen so many commandos, we've seen so many reckless flurry lists. We've seen, I mean, Nilfgaard I guess has some variety, but this is something that's different, and that is what makes it so entertaining to watch.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a little bit of a curveball, and so much of a curveball, in fact, that last game, it got banned. I mean, it's interesting to see it got banned because, I mean, I would imagine most people have not really experienced playing against this. So if you don't have experience playing against this, it's interesting to see them having that idea that, you know what, this deck is scary, I'm going to ban it. Is that the surprise factor? They just don't know, they just aren't comfortable against it, or are they banning it because they're actually respecting it as a real deck?
I think they probably just have bovinophobia, to be honest with you.
A what phobia?
Bovinophobia. Fear of cows.
Wait, there's actually a fear of cows. Why would you be scared of a cow?
Someone out there is scared of cows. I don't know if bovinophobia is a technical term. I mean, they're bovines. But that was me once again saying something confidently, and thus it sounding legitimate. And that is how I've made it through 30 years of life at this stage. Someone in chat, go find out what a fear of cows is. I hope it's like bovinophobia or something like that.
Oh my goodness. All right, moving on now to Inspired Zeal. This is going to be Devotion, so this one has the Siege, and I think that gives the edge to the Siege list in the Northern Realms mirror, as Siege is going to be very, very valuable in these NR mirrors. So if that mirror does unfold, I would have to give the edge to Poisound, I would imagine.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Siege, 9 times out of 10, I do feel like you do find the Siege. Because, especially on Blue Coin, you have the Cursed Scroll, so you can usually try and find one card. You've got thinning on the Commandos, you've got thinning on the Hubert. And yeah, that's what I mean. Inspired Zeal, I would go for points, whereas Monsters, I would go for consistency. I don't think this list necessarily needs the consistency, and the Siege provides so many points.
Yep, for sure. Definitely agree with that. Jackpot is going to be a little bit different to the line pockets. I must say, so far I've turned a lot more line pockets, but there are a few players playing Jackpot, and this one does have that Caesar to combine with that Siggy Reuven. And we see no Jacques here, so we do see the Halvid, as I believe Jackpot did lose out on a provision last patch, so players opting to just kind of use the provision to downgrade Jacques to Halvid, and then, you know, just keep that Caesar with the Siggy there.
Poor Jacques. Imagine being downgraded. Oh dear, and to Helvide no less. Like, I feel like that's just got to be offensive, all things considered. But again, I'm not convinced that we will see Jackpot. I feel like it's an unlikely scenario. You know, the Jackpot is very unlikely, and that's why we never see it. It's like gambling 101.
Yeah, then we have Reckless Fury again coming into the tournament mix of things. This is going to be your typical red coin deck, and you know, just getting that pressure on in round 1. This deck, that's what it does best. Just get that pressure with those discard targets and make life a bit difficult for your opponent at times. But yeah, the problem is for both these players with the Skellige, both players bring Commando, and Commando actually the better list when it comes to Northern Realms against Skellige specifically. So that matchup not the best for Flurry, which might happen here quite a bit.
Yeah, Flurry, it has some awkward matchups for sure, but I think overall it's proving powerful in the competition. But then Koshi, let's think about Koshi, right? How did Poison's lists do against Koshi? You've not got the jewels that we've seen previously in Northern Realms.
That is true. It actually might be a struggle, on all honesty. Poison may have a difficult time against Koshi. I mean, imagine you're going to have a difficult time against Sindikkat, so you probably still ban Sindikkat, but actually Koshi having a good time in this lineup, I would imagine.
Yep, he's having a spider party. He's having a good old time. Arachnophobia, that's fear of spiders. I still want to know what the official term is for fear of cows. I'm at the point where I'm going to Google it.
Oh no.
I'm like, I need to know this. I don't really care if anyone else needs to know this.
What if there is no fear of cows?
I need to know. There will be. There's always there's one for like the fear of the number 13. Okay? So I feel like fear of cows.
Oh my goodness.
It's gonna have a term. Oh my god, it was bovinophobia. Oh, see, you say it with confidence and then it's true. Oh, I feel like
Jaggerous, do me a favor. Can you confidently give me the next lottery number winnings, please?
1.
1.
2.
Okay. 2.
3.
No. No.
4. 5.
Absolutely 6. Not.
The thing is, you know that kind of sequence of numbers. A lot of people will play that sequence of numbers. Here's a fun lottery fact. A lot of people will play common sequences of numbers, so like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That if you did win the lottery on those numbers, you wouldn't actually win very much because so many other people would split the prize.
So what you're
so
saying
don't pick common numbers, you guys.
see, so mathematically possible, those are the worst possible numbers you just gave me. Thank you.
Yeah, they're the worst possible numbers if you won. I mean, if you don't win, they're even worse. But if you won with those numbers, it's not a good way to win.
What I don't know what kind of madman, what kind of psychopath do you have to be to pick the lottery numbers and go 1, 2, 3?
Someone does, honestly. Like Google it. It's a real thing. Or Bing it. Let's treat all search engines equally.
No,
Bing it.
Let's not.
It sounds weird. Bing it.
I'll stick to Google. Thank you very much.
Well, that's why they know everything about you. They know what you're doing right now, Spyro. I'm just gonna put that one out there. I mean, they know what I'm doing. I use Google Chrome, so like they're like, and she's watching the Invitational on YouTube.
Oh, they're gonna send the secret hackerman to shut down the stream.
Yep, that is true. But we should be getting into the game in just a couple of minutes. Who's on Red Coin? I'm gonna be Specimen. Spyro. So because Specimen just showed up in the chat, he's distracting me. Who's on Red Coin, Spyro? Say it with confidence.
Poisound. Poisound is on Red Coin.
Yeah, so we'll see Poisound. See Poisound on Red Coin. We'll see Sindikkat on Blue Coin as we go into the losers bracket finals, right? So this is going to be the winningest of the losers, and then they have to face off against the winningest of the winners, and see who comes out on top.
So, but technically though, if you win as the winningest of the losers, then the winningest of the winners has the same amount of losers as the winningest of the losers. So who then is actually the winningest of the winningest?
The one who wins the winners bracket finals, obviously. And we'll use this moment to quickly shout out our sponsors, advance.gg. If you haven't already checked out their website, you can do that for all of your energy drink supplements. If you're someone like me who does tend to drink a lot of caffeine, it's an alternative for that. And if you use the !advanced in chat, you can get a free sample. Use code TLGTI2 in checkout to get free shipping, and you can try before you buy for absolutely nothing all over the world.
Yep, definitely give that a try if you are interested, as we are about to kick things off with game number 1 of the lower bracket final. Winner of this will go on to the grand finals, where they will face off against Ark, who has been probably falling asleep at this point, waiting on his competitor to show up.
Yeah, you could have had a good old nap, maybe watch the Formula 1, had a great time. It was a good race, by the way, if you're curious. Oh, maybe I should predict. I want to predict.
Can I predict?
I'm Thug Life, damn
Wait,
straight.
no, damn it! I'm the channel. I can't predict. No.
Yeah, I get this thing with that feeling where you are TLG and you're like, oh no, oh no. I mean, I can't see the correct prediction. I'm currently looking at who's going to win between Poisound and One More Time. So
All right.
that's the thing. Anyway, here we go. Game number 1. Let's see who is on Red Coin. Let's see who is on Blue Coin. Let's see if Sindikkat was allowed through as we load into the map.
Skellige Mirror. Now that means someone was trying to counter queue a certain matchup, because you usually don't want to be bringing Skellige on Blue Coin here, as we do see Poisound opting to go for it on Blue Coin, maybe anticipating the Red Coin pick from the Mirror. And we're gonna see now another Flurry Mirror. We saw it happen in the last game. Once again though, Flurry Mirror will be happening.
Yep, so you said, for the record, you said Poisound on red.
Don't blame me now.
You
also
said
said it.
confident.
No. How am I supposed to
No, I was allowing you to have a moment, but no. This is the last time we trust Spyro. I'm wondering if Poisound was trying to get the Skellige into Monsters matchup. Maybe feeling that Sindikkat might go Monsters first instead of Skellige. So instead of playing NR into Skellige, which has a nice matchup, playing this Skellige trying to find Monsters. That's what I would maybe guess. Or say confidently was his thinking.
Possibly, although the matchup isn't exactly... It's still a close-ish matchup, I believe, as we do see a Greatsword now coming out here, possibly going to get cleaned up by that Gutting Stash. We see just that. No Heat Weather to make use of this time around, as we're going to have to see who has the more playable hand at this point. That's kind of how these mirrors go in round number 1, is who can contest the round the deepest. And looking at Poisound's hand might be a little bit too good for this round 1.
Yeah, and this happens a lot with Skellige, and it's really quite unfortunate. You haven't had the time to start discarding cards, to start shuffling cards, to start adjusting your hand at this stage in the game. So it makes life just that little bit more awkward for you.
You know, we see the squirrel there getting discarded as this is going to be 16-8. Sindikkat probably going to be able to win round 1. Going to be playing that Megascope, and I think Poisound likely going to just bow out of this round right away. There's not really much left for him to do here. You could play Decoction, I guess. Decoction would boost the Great Stop, so I guess you could play that and I guess hold this round a little while longer, see if that takes the round. But other than that, though, there isn't really much left for Poisound to play. But it looks like Sindikkat actually going to take the pass and had enough already, so actually Poisound taking it very easily.
Yeah, and I think that was actually quite lucky for Poisound going one more card deep, because he got to the point where he really was running out of stuff to play. But on the other hand, so was Sindikkat, right? He got to the point where he'd have to play maybe a Bear Witcher. The rest of his hand he couldn't really play, and the Bear Witcher I don't think would have even made up the points in that scenario. So you have to kind of give up. Yeah, and these draws, lots of discard, but no, lots of targets, but no discard.
Yeah, not yet. Need to find that core on that burner. Very important here, as Poisound has a good hand going into round 3. Likely going to see a dry pass. I guess he probably play the Maxi and then pass. And then looks like the core a bit low down. Not sure if you want to keep that. The Kadoosh though and the Morkfog is high up, but the coral's a bit low, as I think they got clicked. That was a bit quick, so likely got clicked there. We'll have to see soon, as we're going to go into most likely a long round 3.
I don't think it was too bad, all things considered, though. Like, maybe you give up the coral, but you're going to draw into discard targets for your burner. So you're going to have the Twirsek, you're going to have the Morkfog in order to discard. You're also going to get your Kaduk. Like, yes, you lose out on the coral, but it's not, I wouldn't have said the worst hand ever. You don't have your Heatwave, but Heatwave's not huge in this matchup. Yep,
I mean, Heatwave not going to do all that much, as we do see down because of Megascope. Well, I like this. This Megascope going to be getting another Savage Bear, meaning that Savage Bear, the final one, actually going to have 3 charges rather than just 2 now. So that's going to be a 10-point Savage Bear in round 3. Not too bad at all.
It's an unusual strategy. I mean, Savage Bear in Skellige is an unusual strategy, but Sindikkat, having made it this far, obviously is working out for him. Here comes the draws. And there's Coral near the top, so did opt for the shuffle.
Yep, did take the shuffle there. Unfortunately, though, still missing out on the discard targets. Finds a Megascope into another Megascope. Going to probably mulligan that away again, I would imagine. Wanting to find maybe that Morkfog. And finds the Raging Bear there. Now, looking at the opponent's hand, we do see there is the good as well. The question is, how good is good going to be in this round 3? Not so sure. Totem, though, going to make things very miserable for Coral.
Where's the discards? Morkfog in hand, Twirsek in hand, no Coral, no Burner, no Skull. This is just game over for Sindikkat.
By the way, players right now are in the money, so if you win here, you're guaranteed second place. What are the the exact prizes right now, Jaggerous? It's, I think, 600 for first, 500 or 600 for first.
Yeah, it's a decent chunk. I think it's just over half the prize pool for
I'm just trying to figure out how much they're playing for right now, because obviously this series has, I think it's like $200 or $300 this series is worth, basically.
You just want me to say it confidently and hope for the best. Is that what you want? Because there we go, 600, 250, 150.
All right, so this series is at least worth $100 then for these players, as this is going to be guaranteeing second place for the one that wins, possibly first place, so it could be a bit more.
Do you think Sunset Wanderers is going to save the day for Sindikkat with a discard? He needs to find a discarding card with Sunset Wanderers to have a hope in hell.
That is very, very true. Without the discard, this hand is a bit of a disaster, as we do see down now comes that down comes the Quartermaster here, and that's going to make those Fanatics go down to 3 strength. Coral now, what is Coral going to hit? If Coral hits any of the Fanatics, not the best tickets in the world. Looks like Coral skillfully dodging that, and it's time to see, does he draw a discard? He needs a discard here, the Sunset One. If he doesn't find it, I think he just pretty much loses the game on the spot if he can't get that discard here.
Yeah, absolutely. You need it. You can't play a Morkfog and a Twirsek. And ideally, you need a double discard, right? Ideally, you need Burner, because Coral's only going to give you 1. Scalds are only going to give you 1. Here comes the Sunset Wanderers. Have they brought their Skellige friends to save the day? Or is Sindikkat up the creek without a paddle? Unfortunately for him, it's a Bear Witcher.
Yikes. No Quen, no discards. That is a bit of a disaster of a hand, I must say. That hand is just pretty much completely unplayable. Literally unplayable.
There's no Quen. There's Twirsek, there's a Morkfog. It's a shame. But this is what happens in mirror matches, you know? This is the thing. if you draw badly, you're likely to lose unless the other person also draws badly. But actually, Poisound drawing more or less perfectly into this matchup versus Syndicat's Twirsek, Morkvarg.
Yeah, and we do see the discards here for Poisound to make use of, so he will be able to discard this Morkvarg, luckily for him. And yeah, I mean, we saw an awkward mirror earlier on. We see another awkward mirror here. Looks like Poisound just so much more talented in the mirrors, as he's not going to have any problems. And unfortunately for Syndicate, that is going to be a 4-point skirmish and a 5-point Morkvarg. Not what you want to see. Down comes the Gerd now, but just not looking great for Syndicate at all without that burner or the coral.
Absolutely. There's good. He was not very good. I mean, this whole situation isn't very good for Syndicate, really. You're just delaying the inevitable. And I hate to be that caster to be like, this game is over. Especially with, 6-7 cards left in hand. But I'm just like...
I think I can confidently say, Jaggerous, this game is over.
You say it with confidence. This game
now
is
I can
over.
really say it with confidence. And not even be bluffing.
And I believe, did Syndicate remove Maxi? Someone in chat saying he removed Maxi. And this is where Maxi can kind of save the day, because Poisound was able to utilize his Maxi to adjust his hand to find the coral early on, play it in synergy with the burner, and just get a heck of a lot of value. And when you forgo Maxi in this situation, when you go for points rather than consistency, you need consistency here. You don't need points.
Yeah, unfortunately, without the consistency, this is going to be a little bit awkward, as so far Syndicate still does have the lead, but the finishers just aren't there. The rest of his hand completely terrible, as we're going to see an 8-point card, a 6-ish point card, a 5-point card, and a 4-point card for Syndicate. Just not really going to do much, whereas Poisound can be playing massive finishes time and time again, and looks like it should be a clear win for Poisound in game number 1.
Those are your new lottery numbers, right? 4, 5, 6, 8, and then whatever the score ends up being. Okay. Those are going to be your 6 lottery numbers.
That is a good old noted right there. I'm just noting that down.
Absolutely.
Time to win the lottery today. Chat, don't steal my numbers. I'm not.
Oh no, but now all 800 people in chat are going to use them, and you can have that situation where you all win, and you win like 50p each.
Lovely. Well done, Jaggerous. Sabotaging the lottery.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's just what I'm here to do. Here comes some leader charges, just chucking them out into the ether, maybe trying to kill some things. 32 points to 30. All cards even in terms of number, but not all cards even in terms of value. I know I would rather have a Hjalmar and a Quen than a Morkvarg, a Heatwave, and a Twirsek Invader.
Yeah, Skirmisher going to be coming down here just for 4 points, unfortunately, as looks like Poisound should be able to take game number 1 quite easily. So 1-0 lead in favor of Poisound. I'm going to pop the score right now. I don't need to wait to see any further. That's okay. It's going to take a little time. Don't worry, chat. I know it says 1 by Syndicate. I'm just preemptively accounting for the switch. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I see. Oh, because oh my god, this is effort. You have to keep switching the scores. I got to say, though, I gotta commend Syndicate for playing this one out, given the hand state, given the situation at 6-7 cards. He still played it out to the end. And you see players forfeiting, but he's used the time. He's thought, maybe I'll find a way of winning. Maybe there's something salvageable. And if not, I can use this to kind of think ahead and recuperate. And you gotta give him props just for playing that down to the last card, even though his last card didn't even put him ahead.
Yeah, I mean, there is money on the line, so you never know, I guess, and Syndicate just trying to just hope and pray for something there. Unfortunately, Poisound not throwing any lifelines, as we're going to get ready for game number 2. 1-0 lead in favor of Poisound. Will Syndicate be able to equalize in game number 2? And are we going to see the fabled card deck making its appearance here?
So, Poisound now on red. 1 with his red coin list with Skellige. Alright, so if it's between NR and Nilfgaard, you don't really like Northern Realms on red. So yeah, I would say, and I think if it was Syndicate, maybe would have played that first. So I'm going to say it's time for cows. Everyone, prepare yourselves.
Any mooers in the chat?
I don't know what that requires. Any mooers in the chat? Chaz will just stop mooing now. This is what you've done.
Oh, I see cows. I see Nilfgaard. It's time for the Soldier Swarm card deck to make its appearance in the lower bracket finals here, as this is going to be Northern Realms versus Cow Nilfgaard. Question is, how is this matchup going to go for Poisound?
We'll have to see in terms of the hand. You know, I feel like I've seen this deck so infrequently. I'm like, what are you even looking for here? Like, what do you really want for your opening hand? Whereas the Commandos list, this is the consistency Commandos list we might add. You've got Roche. You've got some consistency cards. You've got a Neuromancy. You've got Amphibious Assault. And you've got your Scroll, right? So you do have consistency there.
Yep, you pretty much
This is such a weird version of this NR list.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much have everything you need in this opening hand, I must say. Out comes a Neuromancy onto the Defender, and Poisound doesn't really have many answers. If you can't get through this Defender, this lock is not going to be able to connect with the Falters, as we see the Tortoise coming out here, but Poisound not going to have an answer for this Falters, and that's really good news for Sindikkat, and Sindikkat does also the Purify, just in case the Defender gets answered. There's also Purify anyway, as we see down comes that Roche. Now, boosting up the Defender, this does make this Ivar potentially get some good value, but man, this is going to be quite powerful, this Falters here.
Yeah, it's looking a lot like a three in done, right? You know, you play your Tortoises, you play your Imperas, and you play one other card, maybe a Blightmaker if you feel like some thinning, maybe not. And then you peace out of the round. And I think that is probably what Poisound is going to do here.
And down will come the Falters here, starting to boost up that Commander. And at this point, Sindikkat probably doesn't even click the Commander. He just wants to copy them, get as many Commanders as he can for round 2, and then bleed with the Commanders again in round 2. So I would imagine Poisound going to play one more card and then just get the hell out of this round, because that's pretty much what happens. If you don't have an answer for Falters, you just want to get out quick.
Absolutely. As we see Blightmaker being utilized here. And the thing is, you might not even want to thin the mage. You might just put something good on the top of your list. And it does thin the mage. I was going to say, you could have the argument of, well, you know what, I'm unlikely to win the round, so I may as well put something good. But here comes the doggo. So he does at least have points up. He's not going to lose on even at this stage.
And here comes a Megascope just for some extra carryover, as we do see Poison. Our question is, will Poison play? Nope, he says he's out of here. He doesn't want to play this any further, as we do see Sindikkat with a whole lot of Commandos in deck for round 2 to bleed with. And, you know, the short round 3 of this deck is going to be absolutely filthy. So even a card down, I don't know if Sindikkat really cares all that much.
No, I can't imagine that he does. And this is a way that this deck can bleed. When you're not running Siege, you can instead choose to bleed with Commandos. You know, if you duplicate them with the Poultice and you get away with it, then this is where you have the triple Commando strategy, where you can bleed with Commandos rather than with Siege. And at the same time, managing to preserve a lot of the tools of the deck. You know, the Selkirk, you've also got the Erland, for example. You've got a lot of different tools you can utilize. And if you do bleed with the Commandos, you can still duplicate them in round 2, so you can just continue to make more Commandos.
Yeah, and we do see now with that Commander in hand, Sindikkat will be able to mount a bleed here. And again, I don't think Sindikkat really cares all that much about card advantage. As a matter of fact, I predict what's probably going to happen this round is Sindikkat is going to likely go a card down, but he's going to have so many Commanders going to round 3. I just don't know if it's going to matter all that much, as we do see down comes the Commander, not even going to use a leader charge. Interesting enough, I mean, he does have the Purify. I guess he's saying, go ahead, lock it, see if I care. I've got a MV Pella in hand. I don't really need to worry about it.
Yeah, the MV Pella. But the thing is, if you're poisoned and you expect the MV Pella, do you consider dealing with this in a different way? I mean, it's not the nicest invocation ever.
I mean, it's carryover though. Invocation does completely shut this down. I mean, that's not a bad invocation. I would imagine Poison thinking about whether or not it takes Invo or the lock.
Yeah, because it's a thought process, right? And then, you know, if Sindikkat has other ways, he does have other ways of accessing Commandos, right? He's got Amphibious Assault, he's got Neuromancy. But I don't know. It's such a difficult choice.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta...
The thing is, I think Poison's scuppered anyway, because his deck is completely synergistic and needs a long round. So
Takes
he gets
the Invocation.
Really
that is gonna now force Sindikkat to have to play an Invocation or a Neuromancy or an Assault to pull out another Commander. So, you know, I mean, there is that of a bit of a downside, which now does put Sindikkat in a little bit of an awkward position, because now he has to preserve that Neuromancy for round 3. And if he doesn't draw the Pavetta, what is he going to do in round 3? Because that's the second use of his AA, I believe. Or was it the first? Maybe it was the first. Maybe I'm lying. Actually, I'm not sure.
No, I think it was an early use. I think he hadn't gotten into a situation there. I think he used the Neuromancy in round 1, but not the Amphibious Assault. But also using the leader charges there, and finally respecting the fact that, oh, you know, maybe Poisound is going to remove all my friends. That's a nice Ivar target.
Yeah, Ivar coming out potentially onto that. It's going to be a really big Ivar for sure, as we do see Sunset Wanderer now moving on to the right of the hand. This is going to give Poison a lot more tempo to defend this bleed with, but Ivar going to be so many points here. That should, I think, allow Poison to likely go a card up soon, as that's just going to be so many points combined with that Sunset Wanderer to defend this bleed.
The thing is, how much does Syndicate want to spend into this round? If you accept going a card down, you know, where do you stop? You don't want to play Erland. You probably want to hold a Neuromancy and so that you can do a Neuromancy and Amphibious Assault with Pavetta and thinning cards. So then you're left with Selkirk, Pella, and Oil. You're probably fine with playing the Pella and the Oil. What about the Selkirk?
Yeah, I mean, Selkirk here should be decent, but you know, you do have to think about whether or not it's even worth trying to chase card advantage here, as I don't think Sindikkat is going to be able to really get that card anymore. But I guess at this point, you just want to shorten round 3 as much as possible, play out this round as deep as you can, and try break up these combos from Poison. Remember, Poison is playing a very combo-heavy deck, so the more you can kind of break this apart, the better for you, as we do see Sindikkat with the Boiling Oil here, just kind of just playing it slow now, accepting going a card down, perhaps just trying to force Poison to play some awkward cards.
But, like the Commando. Oh, I really hope Poison... Yeah, there it goes. I was going to say, I really want Poison to play this Commando, you know. Take it from him with Invocation, draw it with the Sunset Wanderers, and then play it just for the pizzazz of the play.
And we do see some locks here now coming out. Now, the thing is, what does Sindikkat play? If he wants to play any deep, he's going to play gold cards. You don't really want to play the Erland now, because you don't have the Pavetta yet to shuffle back all those commandos. It does play for carryover, but, you know, you could play for points in round 3. Selkirk, another card. Do you really want to play Selkirk when you're down? When you're down points, is really going to achieve much, and you don't really want to play Neuromancy. You might need that for round 3, depending whether or not you draw the Pavetta. So Sindikkat going to take the pass here, and will be a card down. Now, Poison, though, up against a lot of commanders, but he has all of his common pieces still intact. Yeah,
that's not a short round. You know, you tried to shorten the round, but you've ended up... He's still got 4 cards, so he's a card up. And he hasn't played Germain. He hasn't played Vreemed. We're assuming he's got tactical advantage. So we assume he'll find like Vrigkef and the tools that he needs. So the question is, are all of your commandos worth more than the perfect play of Poison? Because he's got 3 cards left in hand, deck, right? So he can, with the leader ability, draw exactly what he wants to play this out.
Yeah, I mean, Poison did thin quite a bit, so his draws very consistent here. You do see the Ramon with that Slave Inventory in hand. That will play for a lot of points, as we do see Germain now coming out. You want to probably duel that. This is an engine. It's going to spawn a cow every 3 turns, so something you probably want to get dealt with from the Selkirk. Next turn is going to spawn another commander, so I would imagine this is just going to be an easy Selkirk from Sindikkat.
Yeah, just deny potential...
Oh, trying to boost it out of Selkirk range. Does it actually boost out of Selkirk range? Selkirk will come down as a 7. Hits the 4. Oh, hits the 11. 11 will go down to, I believe, 4. 4 is going to hit back, goes to 3. 3 is going to hit back again.
3, 1. Oh. I think it still dies.
Oh my goodness. I mean, this is going to make things very interesting with the duel here, as Poison using full leader to protect that from the Selkirk. Now, Sindikkat, I mean, he can't invest double leader charge on the Selkirk, as he needs 1 leader charge still for those commandos, so will be unable to invest double leader charge here. As you see, Sindikkat just going to think of what he wants to do against that Germain. Again, Germain is an engine. Every 3 turns, including the next turn, it's going to spawn a cow, so you have to stick on the board. You're giving your opponent a lot more slave infantry ammo.
Yeah, I like this heads-up play coming out of Poison. Like, Poison clearly understands the way to play this soldier deck. And I think that's a bold decision. So here comes the Selkirk.
Selkirk still will be able to answer, but this is a lot less of an efficient duel to deal with that now, as that Selkirk going to be damaging itself a couple of times. Now we're going to see Ramon coming out onto the slave infantry, and here it comes. The cows are coming, as that is going to be combined with a Vigriff and transform even further.
Yep, so this is where the cows start to turn into slaves, even though I would argue that cows are already slaves to humans from a philosophical perspective. And finally, the commando is going back into the list, which frees up space to play the Erland now on Adrenaline Curve.
And here comes the Vigriff, and that's going to be able to transform further cows. And now Vreemed is starting to look very scary. Point gap pretty good in favor of Poison. We know Syndikkat's going to have a huge point swing with these commandos, but Poisound also getting some big swings of his own. It could be close. It could definitely be close. Let's take a look now. We see second stage entry coming out, or third. We got a lot of stage entry on the board. That's a massive render.
Technically the third, right? Because 3 of them were created and 3 of them were deployed. So you got to think about it like this. I guess the problem, you've got one tortoise and you've got 1 lock. That's the only problem that I think Poisound has, is that the rest of his hand is kind of underwhelming. You know, Vreemd is massive, but look at all of these commandos, 57 to 43.
That is a lot of commandos. 19-point Erland. There is the Vreemd. It is really close, but Sindikkat might still have it. He has an AA, which is going to play for a decent amount, whereas unfortunately for Poisound, this lock is not going to be doing much. It's going to be playing for 5 points. I think Sindikkat is going to narrowly take this one, as there comes the tortoise onto the board. Sindikkat is going to be playing this AA for, I believe, quite a few points on the blue stripe scout. So looks like Sindikkat takes and equalizes the series.
Yeah, I think it plays for 13 on the blue stripe, boosting her up to 9 plus the 4. Whereas the lock, not quite good enough. And I'm just wondering what else it was that Poisound had in his deck. You know,
I believe there's one more slave entry that could have played for a bit more. I think he only drew 1 slave entry this game, so maybe a second slave entry might get him there. But looks like, unfortunately, Kyle's not coming out on top here, as Poisound will be losing game number 2. Tying up the series, though, 1-1. Skellige getting its win through for Poisound, and Northern Realms getting its win through for Sindikkat.
Yeah, it was a tough situation, I think, in that round 1. You know, not being able to deal with full test, not being able to get through the defender. It puts you at a disadvantage just generally with that matchup. And it's not surprising, I think, to see Northern Realms winning, but it does tie up the series. We still need to see Nilfgaard from both players, and Skellige still for Sindikkat, whereas Poisound has... Oh, there's monsters as well, isn't there? There's monsters and Skellige for Sindikkat, and there's Nilfgaard and Northern Realms for Poisound. Yeah, Poisound hasn't played as Northern Realms.
Now let's take a look now and see what happens in the next one as we get ready for game number 3. Who's going to take the lead, as Poisound now moving on to blue coin and Sindikkat will be on red. So likely going to see Skellige come out here from Sindikkat, I would imagine, or even Koshi. Koshi is also a deck which likes red coins, so could be that as well.
Yeah, Koshi, I think, like, in terms of the matchups, Koshi's not free, but Koshi has good matchups into Poisound's list, whereas Skellige, you know, if I mean, it's NR, right? Surely if you're Poisound, you maybe play NR now, in which case neither of... Actually, no, because it's Commando's NR. So yeah, I think you play monsters if you're Sindikkat, because Syndicat's monsters... Oh, I went Skellige. I was going to say monsters probably has a better matchup into NR than Skellige does, but... Here we are. I'm going to stop talking.
Looks like it's once again going to be Commandos make its appearance. This is going to be Commandos versus the Skellige list, which shouldn't be too bad for Commandos. I think Poisound is playing Devotion list, however, so this does make use of that Siege. And no Erland, no Megascopes, but instead it does have a little bit more of a greedier approach, as we do see the Faultless in hand right now. And looking at Sindikkat's hand, he does have the Heatwave, but after that Heatwave spent... How exactly is he going to deal with the Faultist?
That was a good question. He's not. Again, it's Sindikkat. Oh, not Sindikkat. It's Skellige round 1. You know, Skellige round 1 is just atrocious because you just end up with this weird hand that has a bunch of gold cards you don't want to play until the next round, and you have to hope that you have at least three cards that you can kind of play into the round. If you get 3 cards to play into the round, you're quite lucky. Whereas Poisound, he's got the Commando, he's got the Full Test, he's got the Defender.
Yep, that is definitely true, as we do see Poisound now going to lead things off with this Commando, and now Sindikkat. I mean, Sindikkat in theory could play a Gutting Slash right now and use double leader charge, kill the Commando, and then Poisound is completely left out to dry. Looks like Sindikkat is going to go for it. Gutting Slash with double leader charge, cleaning up the Commandos, and now what exactly is Poisound going to do to copy these Commandos? I really like this play from Sindikkat. Very aggressive, but it makes things problematic for Poisound, to say the least.
Yeah, it's a absolutely heads up play from Sindikkat, and I think Poisound got caught with his pants down a little bit there, you know, rather than opening with a defender.
Yep, I mean, here comes the totem now from Sindikkat. He's going to go full attack helicopter mode, apparently, as we see an aggressive round one coming out from Poisound, or from Sindikkat, rather, as Poisound now. He's going to have to get that Roche in hand now to get another commando, otherwise he's going to have no way to copy them.
Yeah, he can find the Roche, though. He does have that option, and he's got the Defender to protect it as well. So he doesn't actually have to get the death blow. The problem at the moment is with this totem, you're just transforming one of those bear fanatics for Sindikkat. So it's not really a nice time to play Roche.
And now we see Roche in hand as expected for Poisound, as we do see that's going to be able to get... I mean, it's going to have to hit the fanatic, which is not exactly amazing. And Fault is likely going to come down very soon after.
Yeah, but it does just put him 1 point ahead, 11 points to 10. So Roche just about keeping the blue player ahead in this situation. And Sindikkat, he's expended Totem. That's expensive for a round one.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like the play a bit, but the problem is there's not a really good follow-up for Sindikkat now, as we do see now Roche coming down. So Sindikkat might just say, well, I got no answer for Faltus and Defender. I got to pass, which means the Totem not really getting that much... that pressure doing. You play the totem to get the pressure, but you can't follow it up, so was it really worth spending the totem there?
And the 2 leader charges, bear that in mind, to clear up the commandos just makes life a little bit more awkward for Sindikkat in the future if he wants to play things like the Janod. And Poisound doesn't have to summon these commandos.
Yep. Looks like Poisound actually just going to go all the cards down, saying, all right, let's go. Oh, nope, he's going to click. Oh, I guess he's going to click to open up. Yeah, he's just going to go for long round team. He's going to play the Pavetta in round 3, and that is going to be a long round 3, which looks like it's going to be happening with a lot of commandos now on the board. That is so many being copied with the Faltus here. Long round 3, there will be a lot of commandos for Poisound.
Absolutely. He has the Pavetta and he has the Amphibious Assault, so he has the tools in hand already to take this risk. This is a calculated decision. You're saying, I've got my commandos. I may as well play those now and just have all of these commandos for round 3 go into a long round. Try and find my siege as well, which would be really nice.
There's the siege. Very, very important top deck. He finds the siege. That's going to be very good news for Poisound, and I guess keeping the Hubert in hand, saying, I want to make sure I mulligan this next round. So, yep, try passing as expected. It's going to be a long round 3. Now, usually, Reckless Fury not really minding a long round, but I mean, we're spending the totem and double leader charge. It's a big spend in round 1 for Syndicats. His long round 3 might not be good enough anymore.
And the problem also that Sindikkat had there was if there was anything else he wanted to play from his hand in this round. I'm not saying there was, but if there was, he couldn't because it would have thinned his Sunset Wanderer. So he kind of had to hold off in regards to playing more cards, just because otherwise he would have completely wasted the value of the Sunset Wanderer in round 2. And it's not often we see Sunset Wanderer last until the 3rd round.
Yeah, I mean, Sunset Wanderer with Skellige can be awkward at times, as we do see this long round 3 with enough siege engines to easily fully proc this. There is the Adalia too, so you can get extra siege engines should you need them, and we'll have to see how this looks. We see the mulligan coming out onto the Axie there, I guess. Maybe Syndicate saying in this matchup, Axie not going to be the greatest thing in the world, as we do see all the discard cards, however. Actually, not all the discard cards. No crawl yet to be seen for Syndicate.
Maybe Sunset Wanderers will find Coral. We have to wait and see. As the Heimei Scald being utilized here. Drawing into a new card, let's see what we got. It's another bear. You've got a discard target. You've got Mokfog. You've got Twirsek. So he's not in the same position as he was the last time he played Skellige, but this is a scary situation for a long round with Siege and with all those commandos. Yep,
Skirmisher coming out onto that... off of that Scald rather, as we do see now Adalia going to be used onto this Reinforced Ballista with the shield there, making it a little bit more difficult for Syndicate to kill. Only 1 leader charge remaining, which makes this a lot harder to deal with, as we might just see maybe the bear, Savage Bear come down to bleed this to get away that shield perhaps.
And Poisound, he has siege engines for days, so he can afford to develop some siege engines onto the board before he even starts proccing the siege, and in doing that what you achieve is you put more points into your bombardment for the chapter 2. So you develop some siege engines in a way that isn't triggering chapters, so that when the bombardment does come around you should maximize the amount of points that you get from it.
Is there enough Bear Witches left? I mean, I can't look at the deck right now, but that burner just drew 2 witches, which now makes this Quinn a little bit spooky. That if that Sunset Wanderer draws another Witcher, I think that's lights out for Syndicate, as we do see now leader charge coming out here, And that is unfortunately not going to be able to kill off any of these reinforced ballistas. But Junod, though, will come down to save the day and kill one of them for now.
It doesn't feel good using Junod on a 2, right? Like, it's not, but it's good because you're denying an engine, but it doesn't feel good. It's one of those situations where you do it out of necessity rather than out of desire.
And here comes the siege.
So,
the question is, though, Jaggerous, what is the Sunset Wanderer going to do? This could brick the Quen, I think. There is a chance, a 1 in 8 chance, that this Quen might get bricked.
he's going to draw a skirmisher.
That would also be pretty bad.
He's gonna draw a brick, but just in a different way. We've still got one skirmisher left.
Yes,
So,
here it is. What's it going to be? Megascope's okay. Megascope isn't going to be a brick, so that's definitely not too bad. Out comes the Hubert now. Big scoreline, or big point gap in favor of Poisound, however, but luckily dodging a bullet there, it seems.
Is it not going to be a brick? You know, if Poisound can deal with the Bear Witcher on the turn that it's played, then I would say it is going to be a brick.
It is true. I mean, the Megascope could, in theory, be a brick, yeah. So, I mean, you do have the Quen, though, to pull another bronze unit, and you have the Bear Witch from hand. So it's quite hard to deal with all of that, but, I mean, in theory, it is possible, as we do see Poisound now getting his Heat Wave, or his Siege Heat Wave, and now good, going to be coming on the melee round. Unfortunately, the armor from these Reinforced Ballistas is going to soak up a bit of that damage, and still, those Reinforced Ballistas putting in some work here in this round 3.
And you can see Poisound is just quick to deny as many bronze units as he can with these ballistas, and they have equated to such a high amount of value. As finally Pavetta showing up to shuffle God knows how many commandos. I don't think there's going to be space for all of the commandos at this stage.
I'm not sure how many commanders are, but there is a possibility there won't be enough, actually, as we do see Bear Witcher coming down to kill off one of those Reinforced Ballistas. Scoreline still quite big in favor of Sindikkat, but that is going to close down soon after those commandos come out, as we do see now Poisound will be left with these Ballistas, which not really the best targets in the world. But yeah, this is the thing. This deck does somewhat lack points outside of its big siege and commander plays.
Yeah, and the siege being dealt with does mean that you don't get that flashy, you know, the play with the battering ram, the flashy play with the bombardment. But with Sunset Wanderers in the back row, you do at least get a lot of value out of this trebuchet.
And here comes the Quen onto the Bear Witcher. Luckily that Sunset Wanderer did not brick Sindikkat, as this is going to come down for a whopping... Oh boy, there's a spider on my wall. Oh no.
There's a friend.
That's a rain spider.
It's Koshi. Say hi to Koshi. That's Koshi.
No. So there comes the Bear Witcher, and that is going to be playing for a lot of points with the Quen here, as we do see Poisound now with a pretty, or Sindikkat with a pretty big point lead. Is the commanders going to be enough? This is looking a little bit dicey, and one unit charge is ensuring this goes through.
I mean, it's a lot, right? It's a lot of oh, hit the armor. It's a lot of commandos. And you have to think about it. The Axie is not that hot. The Megascope is 8. And the Hjalmar maybe 9. So the point gap is big. But there's a lot of commandos to come out. On the other hand, the Margarita's only a 6. And the Marine's only a 7.
Yeah, I mean, outside of this commander finisher, Poisound doesn't really have a whole lot. He's going to play the Margarita now. He's going to be playing as a 6-point play. I mean, the scoreline is looking decent for Sindikkat, but is it going to be enough to ensure that he wins this game against this massive commander finisher? I mean, I think it's going to be close. We say this time and time again, but I think this is going to be pretty close.
Yeah, I don't know how many commandos there are. That's the thing. Like, this Axie is just not exciting, right? You healed Burner for 1.
He healed Burner for 1.
He got 1 point.
But the Ballista was a 2-point reset. I guess.
Oh?
Yeah, that's weird. Why would he do that?
Don't know. Maybe not realizing, but you know, that's 1 point. So if it comes down to 1 point, we found the exact moment where it could have gone differently. And now 8 is the target, but there's not an 8 on the board. So Hjalmar being played, I'd imagine, for a 6, 9 points.
Commandos are a lot. I think Commandos is enough here. I think these Commandos should be more than 20 points. Out comes the assault onto the Commandos. That's going to play for so much value here. Looks like Poisound will take game number 3, and now 2-1 lead in favor of Poisound. Overall 1 win away. That means, Jaggerous, for the remainder of the series, we will see cows.
It wasn't even close. The problem that Sindikkat, well, actually that Poisound had, he didn't even have space for all of those commandos. I'm pretty sure there was about 9 of them in the deck, and there was only 7 points of space. And remember when you said you thought it was going to be close? That was not close. It was a massacre. And that's what happens with full test. You know, he couldn't deal with the full test, and Poisound was just like, that's fine. I'm just going to go down to 4 cards, so you can't even escape by passing. You know, you tried to escape, but I said no. So, Nilfgaard versus Skellige. Nilfgaard versus Koshi. That's where we're currently at.
I don't like Nilfgaard's odds against Koshi, but against Skellige, it looks pretty okay from what we saw yesterday. So we'll have to see about that one as we are about to get into game number 4. Can Sindikkat force the game 5, or is Poisound going to run away with this and secure himself that spot in the grand finals? This is playing for guaranteed second place, potentially first place if they can win the finals. So a lot riding on this as Sindikkat is now on the chopping block here. This is match point for Poisound. Let's take a look now at game number 4. And this is going to be Koshi versus Nilfgaard, which is not going to be, I think, a great matchup for Nilfgaard. But let's take a look and see how it goes.
No, he doesn't really have the tools in order to deal with the things that monsters put out. You know, you don't really have good ways of dealing with the Koshis, for example. Not in any kind of clean or meaningful way. It's not a very interactive deck for once. This is like a Nilfgaard deck that actually doesn't touch your stuff.
It's a very wholesome Nilfgaard
Weirdly
deck.
enough. It is. This is wholesome Nilfgaard. Poisound is a wholesome player playing wholesome Nilfgaard. No Koshi. No consistency cards.
I mean, he does have the thinning at least, so he can get us a bit of thinning done round 1. Does have the Brewers there with that Ox, which is nice. But yeah, no carryover, no maxi, no consistency here. Bit of an awkward hand, but it may be good enough to win round 1. Finds his defender, but yeah, you just want to win round 1 here as Koshi and then start doing the bleed in round 2.
Yeah, but can he win round 1? I mean, he's got a lot of value, don't get me wrong, but it's expensive.
Yeah, we'll see how expensive it actually ends up being, as we're going to see which catcher is going to start things off right away. It looks like Sindikkat already going to get that tempo going. Wants to make use of those relic tags, as he does expect to play his Brewers soon. So wants to make sure he gets those relics for value. Now the question, what is Blightmaker going to hit? If it hits which catcher gets an extra point? Going to be 12
I know, it's valuable. If you hit the Blight.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
hit the catcher before this.
Yeah, unfortunately not.
50-50, never lucky. Never lucky. He wasn't confident enough. And now Brewers comes down, and we're getting close to that Sabbath mark once again.
And we do see that second Blightmare coming out here. Will this one hit the catcher? That's the question. This one going to be coming out here for a second Mage Assassin. Unfortunately, yet again, Poisound just missing out on that, as this now does enable Sabbath. We do see 25 points of the melee row, so this Witch Apprentice will start being able to play for 2 points a turn soon.
And this is the thing, as Poisound, you can't really deal with very much on your opponent's side of the board, right? You've got your Heat Wave, and you have to decide the opportune moment for you to play that. So you can't really do a huge amount about the Witch Apprentice, but if you leave it, you're probably going to lose the round.
And
it's a tough one. It is a tough one.
Imperial Brigade's coming out here for some thinning for Poisound. Poisound actually having a lot of thinning in his deck, as we do see down comes the Gansian, and now scoreline starting to run away from things. Poisound probably going to want to pass here. Don't really think there's really much to be done. However, we are going to see an Ivar. It looks like Sindikkat, or actually looks like Poisound actually wants to put some pressure on, and that is going to be a massive point swing. Out comes the Roche rather. 12 points down. Sindikkat has to get some big tempo going here to stay in this.
Yep, that's just oh well, there's the Heat Wave. I was gonna say that's just Poisound really valuing the round and saying, you know what, I need to do something to try and stay in this round. And maybe that he's playing Ramon. So yeah, going for a Slave Hunter now, going for the Ramon now, and that does mean I believe the Sunset Wanderers may come out next round if he continues to play. So this is, I think, Poisound trying to really put the pressure on Sindikkat.
Yeah, Poisound going full attack helicopter mode here, and Sindikkat, I mean, he's got a pig going, the witch catcheress, or the witch apprentice actually, rather, getting 2 points a turn, but that heat wave just saying, yep, grow as big as you want, you're just going to die.
Is that a good play, though? You know, using the heat wave, I mean, it would secure him the round. Don't get me wrong, it would secure him the round most likely. Although, again, Sindikkat, does he commit his witcher, not his witchers, his brewers, his whispers, his crones? Oh, he didn't line them up.
Oh boy, that's going to cause chat to go crazy. Well, this series is doomed now. Chat's going to lose their minds. Not line up the crones means death and destruction.
Yeah, that's so sad. Why wouldn't you line them up? There's no reason not to at this stage in the game. Like, no. Syndicat's now dead to me. I mean, if he loses this, he dies. But officially now he's dead to me.
That is a roasted piggy. Bacon has been made, as we do see now a 56-39 point lead in favor of Poisound. Out comes the Knickers, 20-point lead. Sindikkat just goes, nope, I'm out. That is too much for me. Bye-bye. As we see Poisound winning on even. Did commit a lot to do so, however, and I don't think Sindikkat can even take the pass here, because Koshi in long round 3, I think, will win this match at this point. So probably gonna have to see Poisound bleeding at this point, I think.
Yeah, and it's an awkward bleed, right? Because Koshi in a long round is horrible. But if you play into round 2, they get the opportunity to set up the She Who Knows. But so far, the draw's really not in Syndicat's favor. There's Koshi. But okay, no so we're partway there.
Ooh, no Karanthia is going to be a bit of a yikes. As we do see Poisound will in fact bleed with that curse, or with that Nilfgaardian Knight. And this could be difficult for Sindikkat to defend this bleed. Look at the hand for Poisound. He's got almost the full combo, just missing on the Vriemde. But otherwise, good hand here.
Absolutely, and he has the lock for the Koshi, but the problem is there's a defender, and the problem is there's an unlock. So the lock really not going to do a huge amount in this matchup. I think that's the one card, I think, if Poisound could change in this hand, it would be that one. But the thing is, if you go in with the Germain, if you go in with the soldiers, if you go in with the Vrighef, what do you have left for the future?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You're really going all in at that point, because you don't really have much left elsewise. We do see down comes the slave infantry. Looks like Poisound just gonna go with it, and yeah, no Vriemde, but he's gonna go for it anyway.
Yeah, I think if that Alba had been a Vriemde, then you know Poisound could have really been looking towards a 2-0 here, but it's gonna be tough. I mean, Koshi though, short round, maybe forcing out the leader ability, and then Sindikkat, that's his Koshi gone. So what does he have left?
Yeah, I'm not so sure. It's not going to be easy at all. Not sure what you do at this point, as Sindikkat, they're going to play the Koshi, and that means now the Karanthia are going to be terrible in round 3. Looks like Sindikkat is scared of the Vriemde, says, I mean, if you got a Vriemde, I have to play Koshi now. No choice. Not going to go with leader ability. This does mean that Poisound could, in theory, take the pass here, but I don't know if Poisound wants to. Maybe he wants to keep going further. He can... does he go further, though?
I mean, if you take the pass, you've gotten Koshi out. So then what do they have left? Like She Who Knows and a Karanthia? I think it's fine. I think... And also, closing up this gap a little bit tricky. 36-23. I mean, I guess you have to play the Crone. Oh, just... That's it. That's it. Game over.
Series over. Game over. Series over. Once again, Carl's going to take the win, and now Poisound with the Carl Soldier Nilfgaard will be in the grand finals, where he will go up against Ark, who has been waiting for many hours now for the opponent to show, and now we see it is going to be Poisound versus Ark in the grand finals in the TLG Invitational 2. Poisound going, or Ark, not Ark rather, but Sindikkat going to be walking away with $150. He will be eliminated from the turn, but he will be not going home empty-handed, as now both players going to be fighting for that $600 first place prize, where Poisound guaranteed $250, but might be able to walk away with $600 if he can beat Ark twice. However, this is coming from the losers bracket, so Poisound going to have to win 2 series in a row against Ark if he wants to win.